Hey guys, so I've been getting a lot of questions in regards to my natural birthing and um, my Lotus birth that we did with Callie, our previous pregnancy, and we plan on doing again for this pregnancy. Um, and I just wanted to share with you like what a Lotus birth is, why we chose to do it, and the supplies that I use to um, I guess complete the experience. I know that a lot of people are kind of like freaked out by the whole thing and feel like it's a hard thing to do, but it really isn't. It was a very calming and peaceful experience for both my family and Callie, and I would recommend anybody who does a home birth to do the same, but you can always do your own research and decide what's best for you and your family. I would say this definitely was best for our family. And yeah, so basically, a Lotus birth is when you do not sever the umbilical cord after the baby comes out. You just let it detach when it detaches itself. This can take up to 10 days, anywhere from 3 to 10 days, people like to say. For Kali, I would say it took us 4 days, and that was in summertime. We had her in August, and it was pretty hot, and it wasn't very humid at the time, so her cord was very dry, and by the fourth day it broke off. But I do have a friend who she told me that her placenta didn't detach until 9 days. So it just depends on your environment and your climate. Um, Reasons why we decided to do this was because we wanted to make sure that the the like Callie's journey Earthside was one of the most calmest, most peaceful, and non-invasive that we could make it. With our son Mason, we were at the hospital and we didn't have much of a say. Like I believe that my placenta, they even like dropped it on the floor or something, and it was like blood everywhere. So it was really chaotic for my first birth, and I remember Mason being like crying so much and just being handled by so many different people and like them cutting the cord and him crying, and I just remember that shriek that he gave when they cut the cord. And I just knew that I didn't want my child to go the rest of my children to go through what Mason went through. So I took that as a learning experience. So I believe my midwife, she brought the idea up about like asking me like, hey, do you want to do a Lotus birth? And I was like, I'm not really sure what that is, but if it goes hand in hand with the home birth, water birth, and the whole natural parenting, like I'm so open to it. So what I did was I looked it up online on YouTube and Google, and I found a book called Placenta: The Forgotten Chakra by Robin Lim, and I'll put the link to that book. It's a very good read, very informative, and it gives you the medical side, personal sides for mothers, and the spiritual reasoning as to why people choose to do a Lotus birth. I would say for us, we choose to do Lotus births because of the medical benefits for our children as well as the spiritual benefits. Medically, I know a lot of people will say like, oh, after the first 15 minutes, like they get all the essential blood that they need from the placenta, so it makes no sense to leave it attached. But you don't know, like we don't really know how long it takes for the baby to receive the full um, amount of blood, and the like what at what point or at what volume is the most is most optimal for our babies. Like every baby is different. So for me, we believe that once we leave the cord attached, that the baby will get the optimal and specific blood volume um, required for her or him. Like not like I said, not all babies are the same. Babies are bigger, some babies are smaller. So how can 15 minutes be um, something for like every single baby? You know what I'm saying? Another reason why is because we at doing a home birth, I didn't want to have to worry about like cutting a cord or having my partner worry about cutting a cord, being messy, having to do scissors and all that. I was like, you know what? Like, no, let's just do some more research on this. It seems like the most calming, the most peaceful way to let baby transition into the world. So we decided to go with that. On the spiritual side, um, it's I would like to say, and this is what I've learned upon doing my research, is that the placenta and the baby are as one. Like, there's no medical or what I from what I've read and stuff, there's like no medical explanation as to how the placenta even comes about with the baby. So it's like you have to think about how this placenta even came about. Like, it's out of this world. It's a spiritual, I guess, entity that is connected to the baby from the moment of conception and grows with the baby the entire time it's in the womb. So imagine if you had something that you were attached to and then somebody just ripped it from you the moment you came. You're going to be in discomfort. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be in distress. You're going to feel like, oh my god, something's missing. I'm missing that piece of me. So we felt like we didn't want to do that to her. um we wanted to make sure that she would, like we said, transition in the most peaceful way. They also say that, like I said in the book, it's called the Forgotten Chakra, that the placenta is a chakra, that it is an energy center that draws in energy, which makes a lot of sense because that's where the baby gets all of its nutrients throughout the entire time it is in the womb. So it's a connection that the placenta and the baby has. And when you cut that, you are harming the baby's spirituality. You're not allowing the baby to get, like you say, they say you get like a blood transfusion from that placenta. It's also a spiritual transfusion. So if you cut that and you sever that, you are cutting, you are you are interfering with your baby's spiritual, um, with their spirituality, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that, I feel like babies, it's important how babies are birthed into this world. And by doing a lotus birth, I feel like you are bringing in peaceful babies that are calmer, and the energy levels are, like they're low, and it's just it's just like you don't want to cut part of their spirit by cutting this placenta. And I know it may sound crazy, and it may not work for everybody, and some people may not believe in what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. It's up to you. You make your own choices, but that's what we truly believe, and I have definitely seen a difference. I can tell the difference in both of my children, with Mason, and how he, not his behavior. He's a very great kid, but his energy and his the way he goes about his daily life, and how Callie is. She's very calm and quiet, and as she's only 1.5, but she's very sure of herself, very like confident, and she's very like stern, and she knows what she wants, and you can see she'll sit and she'll just think and play, whereas Mason is like, oh, I want to play baseball, I want to do this, I want to do that. So it's like you can definitely see the difference, and I would really um tribute that to the Lotus birth because of the peaceful entrance that she had to this world. um Another thing that I would say, another pro of doing the Lotus birth, is the time that you are able to bond with your family. With Callie, we didn't have any visitors for those first like 4 days. I think my mom was here. Maybe my mom came to visit, and my sister, and those are like the only people, and my of course my partner's mom and aunt. But those are like the only people that we wanted around in general, and my midwife. But like no other people came to our space because we felt like, you know what, like we want to bond, and like not everybody is cool with just seeing a big old piece of meat. Like that freaks people out. So it's like, cool, if you don't want to come yet, that's okay. We're still bonding. We're transitioning from being a family of 3 to a family of 4. And it was just good because Callie and I also had that connection where she wasn't ripped from my hands, and nobody just cut her cord, and she wasn't stressed out. It was like I gave birth, we moved to the bed, I gave birth to the placenta, we went ahead and we cleaned it off and we dressed it, and then from that moment on, for those first few days, it was just me and Callie bonding. So it was me nursing her, and I was getting food brought to me, and we just sleeping and feeding and getting a lot of rest. So um, I would say um, it was a great experience for both of us. Um, what else can I say? Well, I guess right now I'll tell you about the supplies we used that we use for our birth. So what you want to make sure you have is a bowl or a basket to carry the placenta in. Oh, sorry. Um, so what I have right now, I'm gonna go to the store and get a basket. I would think that a basket may be easier for me to use this time around. With Callie, I think I really just used this bowl, not this bowl, but a just regular glass or plastic bowl, and I just carried it around with me. But I think a basket would be easier to carry, like to hold the baby in my hand and have a basket with a handle. You are gonna want to get a colander. You can use one that you have at home already to wash the placenta off. Initially, you want to wash off all the blood clots, like make sure you lift it. And I'll probably show you. I'll probably make a video of it if I'm able to once I give birth. But you want to just like pick it up and make sure you get all the excess blood clots and blood off of it, and just let it kind of like sit. What I'll end up doing probably is, since I will be doing another water birth, I'll probably do it, and I may do it in the pool, and yeah, I may do it in the pool where I'll just wash it off in there so that I don't have to it won't be so messy, or I won't have to go downstairs or have somebody else do it. Or if not, you can just bring baby in the placenta and have somebody help you do it in the bathroom. Another thing you definitely want to have are these Chux Pads. You can get them from Amazon. I'll put that in the link. This is what I use to hold the placenta in. So I would put this in a bowl. So maybe one or two, or I also maybe I'll talk about this first. Maybe one or two. Put the placenta inside, and then that's when I dressed it with the herbs and the essential oils. But also, once I had her, I just had a bunch of these on the bed with us, and I allowed her to just lay with the placenta, and I laid her and the placenta on these, and they just chilled out until it was time for us to like get her dressed. Like, we didn't bother getting her dressed right away. The room was very warm, and we just let her. We rubbed in I believe it's the vernix. I feel like I'm having a brain fart right now. But we rubbed in everything, and just let her kind of just chill out for a minute before we started like dressing her and weighing her and measuring her. It's also okay. It's good to have gloves. You want to, it's bloody, so it's good to just have them if you're a type of person who doesn't really like blood. I don't like blood, but you know, it's just for if you want to. You don't have to. It's your placenta. It came out of your body. And the herbs that I use. So you definitely want to have sea salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. You can use whatever sea salt that you want. You can find this at probably any grocery store at this point. We get ours from the farmer's market. This should be more than enough for 10 days. I also have rosemary, and you can either I have the rosemary, like dried rosemary, but you could also use rosemary powder. I've seen a lot of people use that instead, and it's up to you what you feel like using. We used the dried rosemary leaves for Cali last time, so I just felt comfortable buying this again. This is probably not going to be enough, so I would have to get another one. I didn't want to order like a whole pound of rosemary, and I got this at my market for 61 cents. So I'll probably end up getting like another two just in case I need to dress the placenta for more than 5 days or so. I also have lavender flowers, dried lavender flowers. This is also very inexpensive at our market for 150. I last time I bought like a 5 pound bag and didn't have anything to do with it. So this time like I said, I have this is like as much lavender as I have, and I think this will definitely be enough for that. If not, like you can just definitely pick it up, and we have Amazon, so if we need to get it in a 2 days time span, like it'll be easy to do. I didn't use this before, but I may use it because I have some left. These are chamomile flowers. Also, we bought these from our market. It's like we used it for tea, but I don't really drink that much tea, so I'll be using this to dress the placenta. So I would say if you wanted to buy in bulk or you didn't have these herbs um, available to you as inexpensive as I do, you could go on Amazon or eBay and buy a pound or a half a pound of each one. So chamomile, rosemary, and lavender. Um, this time around, I will probably be using a some essential oils just to see uh, how what the difference is, if it makes it a little, the smell a little less strong. I don't know. I Like I said, I didn't really have a smell, so I just wanted to try it out because I do see how some people do use essential oils. So what I have is eucalyptus, lemongrass, frankincense, and lavender. And I also will use tea tree oil because of like the antibacterial properties and stuff. Um, and yeah, that's basically it. Oh, another thing I wanted to say was that what I also did was, these blankets are the muslin blankets and they're like very thin and light. And what I also did with Callie was I put her placenta in like maybe two of these when I didn't want to carry a bowl around, and I put two of them in there. And what I did was kind of like put it like this, like a little pouch, and tied it up. And when I did walk, like leave the room and walk to the kitchen or something, I actually like had the placenta in it and had a bag on my shoulder, like a short bag, and I put it inside, and I just made sure that when I was holding her that her cord was still like it wasn't being pulled or anything, and I was very careful with it, and that helped as far as transporting it too. There are people on Etsy who make Lotus birth pouches, and you can purchase those, and I feel like I would purchase that too. I'm just like, this pregnancy I flowed with everything, and I'm like doing everything super last minute. I was like in denial or something. I don't know what it was, but I uh I didn't really get everything that I needed earlier on. So if I did, I would have probably gotten a pouch. But a bowl is fine. A basket is fine. Um, and it's not a big deal. It's not hard to do at all. Like I said, I would recommend it to everybody. Oh, the last thing I want to say is what I did with the placenta. So no, you cannot eat the placenta. It is a piece of meat essentially, and it's been exposed for a number of days. So you don't want to eat it. You don't want to encapsulate it. What we what we decided to do with Callie's was vac seal it and put it in the freezer, and we want to eventually bury it um, and give it back to earth in a special place. So we will be doing the same thing with our son's placenta as well. Um, just just giving back to the earth for, you know, just everything that she gives us. Um, so yeah, so basically that's our experience with the Lotus birth. It was a beautiful, peaceful experience. I feel like it definitely affected our children. Well, affected Callie positively and myself. It allowed me to transition into a mother of two, very very peacefully. And I would recommend anybody who is doing a home birth or a birthing at a birthing center or has the opportunity to do a Lotus birth to do one. At hospitals, they say that they're taking your placenta, they're throwing it away. There's many there's a lot of evidence showing that they sell placentas, and then these your placenta can end up in like medication and antibiotics. It's just like a bunch of stuff that they're doing. They're exploiting these beautiful energy centers, and it's like, how can you allow somebody to take what's yours away? So if you can ask them for it, like if they're like if they don't want to let you delay, or they don't want to let you leave the hospital or something, or they don't believe in the Lotus birth in the hospital, like, you have a say. You speak up and you tell them, I want my placenta. No, you may not have my placenta. Like, speak up, and I'm sure they will respect your wishes. You just have to speak up. A lot of women, I feel like, at the hospital, myself included, felt like, oh no, these nurses know what they're doing, so whatever they say goes. No, it's what you say. You're paying them ultimately. They're supposed to take care of you. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. So definitely exercise your rights as a woman, as a mother, and if you want to keep that placenta, keep it. Also with the delay with the cord banking and stuff, that is also like another bunch of BS to me. Some people may do it, and to each his own. But I find that like it's a very expensive thing, and it's like, why take the placenta from the baby initially and send it to a company for them to save it for all these years just in case your baby gets sick, when you can just let the baby get all the nutrients initially right after they come out and allow them to get the full benefits of it, and you know where your placenta is, instead of giving it to another company who probably just takes a little piece of it, puts it in a lab, and then ends up selling the rest of it. So it's just like, it's being mindful of what's happening with the placenta, and also just being mindful of your baby, and just trying to make sure that we're bringing babies into this world in the most non-invasive and the most peaceful way, because at the end of the day, how you are birthed and how you are brought into this world will probably determine the type of person you will be for the rest of your life. Although a lot of people don't put those that together, and I was a person who didn't put that together until I got into the natural lifestyle and all that. And I do see the difference, like I said, in my children, who one was a hospital birth, delivered in a hospital under very stressful circumstances, whereas I had one at home where it was very calm, and I can just see the difference in my children. So I'm excited to see how everything will go with my third. But yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, feel free to comment below. I'm gonna put the links down for the Chux Pads and the book and anything else that I use. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at plantbased_K. And I'm always available to answer questions. And I hope that this inspires you, mothers and fathers, to do a lotus birth, to do a home birth, do a water birth. And I will definitely be doing more videos on my natural parenting and my natural birthing. Thanks so much for tuning in.